Okay. Uh, like I had been saying yesterday, okay, primarily what we are trying to understand here is a lot of us have the questions, right? How AI is going to change our industry, how AI is going to change our jobs, our career, and how do we prepare ourselves towards it. So, that is the primary question that we are trying to address here. This question we have as employees and as business executives, like founders have these questions, decision makers have these questions. So we are trying to find an answer here. What we are trying to do is, see, most of us in software industries are uncertain about our future, right? So we are trying to make a projection of what the future would be. That is the intent of this exercise. Okay, we are trying to make an intent or make a projection of what the future of software or tech business would be, so that in that realistic projection we can estimate what are the skills required, so that we can upskill ourselves towards those skills. Okay, that is the purpose of doing this exercise. Before nowadays, if you go online, you'll see, hey, this is the skills that you have to study, these are the tools you have to learn to, if you have to save your job, if you have to be relevant in another 10 years, these are the things that are overwhelmingly posted online and everywhere of things. Okay, so we are not going to say, or we are not going to conclude what is important, we are going to derive what could be the future, or what could be the futuristic skills. Okay, so we need to upskill ourselves towards something, towards some reality, okay, in the future. So we are going to try project that reality, what the future would be. Okay, and we can't project our future and our career without understanding the projection of the future of the industry in which we are working, which is software tech industry. That is what we are working, right? So we have a team of business development executives, developers, and people who work in business and technology here, right? And with people with varied experience, a 5-year experience, the 10-year experience, the 1-year experience, the 3-year experience. So we have diverse range of, so whatever we are going to do is applicable for everyone. Okay, we are just trying to generalize this from an industry point of view, so that we can take derivatives of each and every skills that we are having with respect to our profile, with respect to our job, and with respect to our experience. Okay, so this is the intent of this exercise. So this is a very this could be a long understanding, but let's break down into several other things. Okay, so the primary question is, what how do we keep ourselves relevant, right? So how do we keep ourselves relevant is the first thing. So in the era of AI, so that is the primary question. So in the era of AI, how do we keep ourselves relevant? So for that we need to understand what AI can do, so that we can do what AI cannot do. As simple as that, right? So if in order for us, for ourselves to upskill into something that AI cannot do, so that we can be relevant, right? So we need to understand what AI can do, so that we can understand what AI cannot do. So in order to understand what AI can do, we need to understand what are the expectations from a business, right? What are the expectations from a business that will expect AI or anyone to fulfill, AI or humans, right? What are the business expectations, right? So with respect to software, if we are running a software business, what are the expectations from its employees, which can be in future AI or ourselves? So we need to understand this. So in order to understand the software business's expectation, we need to understand the domain in which it operates, which the larger domain is a knowledge based economy. Okay, software industry is one of the classification of a knowledge based economy, right? It operates under knowledge based economy. Okay, so any business runs on some economy, and this economy with respect to software business is knowledge based economy. So we need to understand what knowledge based economy can offer. Okay, so these are all the high level pursuits we are going to make in order to come to this derivative. Okay, we want to understand what knowledge based economy is. Okay, so in order to understand knowledge based economy, we need to understand how businesses and economies operate, right? Okay, so what we are going to hypothesize is going to be from here. Okay, we are going to start from how businesses and economy operate, and then understand what a knowledge based economy is, and then understand, based on this business understanding and the economic understanding, we are going to derive what a software business will expect out of its employees, and from here we are going to classify what AI can do, what we can do. Okay, so that we can focus on what we can do, right? Does this make sense? Everyone with me, right? Okay, so first you are understanding why we are doing this, right? So that's clear, right? Okay, so these are the foundations. Okay, we start from this foundation and then get to this question. Only then we can have the holistic information about everything, so that we can make an informed decision. We are trying to make an informed decision here. Okay, we are trying to project the future by going into the past of understanding what a business and economy is. Right from there we start and then we come here. Okay, this is what we are going to do through the next series of discussions that we are going to have. Okay, yeah, clear? Are things clear now? Okay, so let's start from this. Okay, what is a business and what is an economy? Okay, so let's start from here. Okay, this could be very basic, very rudimentary, but I want you to sit through it and understand this, to understand what a business is, what an economy is, so that why are we all doing it, why are humans doing it, and what is the stake for humans in it, and what is the stake of machines in it. Okay, everything we have to derive right from here. Okay, so what is a business? Okay, what is a business? We should start from how did businesses evolve. Okay, so if we are trying to predict the future. Okay, so let's go way back into the past. Let's start from there. Okay, so how was the world and countries revolving is, there were no countries. Okay, people were hunter gatherers. Let's start from that point. Okay, that's when the first business was formed, right? Would have been formed. Let's go to the scenario where the first business was not even formed. Okay, what were people doing? People will be hunting and eating. What do animals do today? They wake up, they hunt, they eat, and then they sleep. They wake up next morning, they hunt, they eat, and next day they sleep. That's it, right? They don't have bills to pay, they don't have EMIs, they don't have anything else, right? So that was the same situation for human beings as well, right? So people were individually hunting and gathering. Okay, then hunting started and they ate, and then gathering happened, right? Because when they have something in excess, they start to gather it. Okay, then they come together and share the work among themselves, right? So someone will go for hunting, someone will do cooking, someone will do skinning, someone will do plantations, cropping, right? In order to not to depend on. So all these people started living together and they formed a tribe, right? And when you have a tribe, each and everyone will have their own responsibilities, right? So they started having their own responsibilities. That's what happened, right? So when individual people, what are the needs of these people, right? They need food, right? Is there any other need? If your food is satisfied, why are you daily going and hunting? Why is an animal daily going and hunting? It needs food, right? That's why it's going and hunting. If a food is provided to an animal, does it have any motivation to go to hunt? No, right? What happens in a zoo? The animal wakes up, it sleeps, eat the food, then sleeps, right? It cannot survive on its own, right? So same with the human beings, right? So in the modern days, we are daily waking up and going to work. Back then, what was happening? People should wake up and go to hunt, right? That is the difference, right? Today, the analogous thing of coming to daily work at this point in time is waking up and hunting. Okay, hunting or doing something that will put food on your plate, right? That is the thing here. Okay, so when human beings started living together, they discovered a way where they could share work, right? So this is the difference between humans and other animals, right? They started to share work so that hunting is done by someone else, the skinning is done by someone else, the food preparation is done by someone else. But ultimately, what do they want? They need food, right? They ultimately need food. So what happens is someone goes and hunts and they bring in, then they take rest. Someone cooks and then they give them. Okay, so the works are shared and the value here is food, right? What is the value someone is running behind? Is food, right? So everyone is running behind food, right? So that is the purpose that they are being here, right? So the value here is food, and to attain this value, everyone is going for hunting, and later days what happens is everyone is doing their assigned work to attain this value, right? The value is food. In order to attain food, I have to fulfill my duty in the team of people, in my team of society. I have to do my responsibilities. So individuals start come together and they form tribal communities, right? And when individuals work together like this, usually the value generation, right, will become excess, right? Because they will start producing more, right? Say for example, if I only do hunting, I'll have excess time. If I individually have to hunt, cook and skin and do everything, I can only hunt this much, then spend my time on something else, then spend my. If I'm only going to hunt, I can spend more time on hunting, right? So what happens is, and if I'm only going to skin, I can do more skinning. If I'm only going to cook, I can do more cooking, right? Basics. If I'm only going to grow crops, I have more time to spend on growing crops without worrying about any other work, right? So now what happens is, as people live together, the value they produce collectively will eventually become excess. Excess as in more than their own needs. Okay. So now what happens? How these individual humans started transacting among each other, group of humans start transacting between each other. Okay. Got it? So I have some excess crops. Okay. Some other group have excess cotton. Okay. Some other group has excess meat. Okay. Okay. So now what happens? I sell my crops to this cotton guy and I get cotton in return. Okay. And this cotton guy gives cotton to this meat person and gets meat in return. And this meat person, the meat group, will give meat to them and then get seeds for their group. So this is how transactions happen between different groups. Does this make sense? Right? Are you able to follow? Right? So this is how transactions happen, and this is what the collection of all these transactions is called economy. Okay? So no money. See, money is how you measure these transactions. Okay? Because let's say I give 1 kg of grains. Okay? How much is this equivalent to 1 kg of cotton? Is this equivalent to 1 kg of cotton? You don't know, right? Is it equivalent to 1 kg of cotton or 5 kg of cotton or 100 kgs of cotton? Is 1 kg of meat equivalent to 10 kg of grains or 100 grams of grains? You don't know. So in order to standardize all these things, initially people used gold and other things, then money started coming. Okay. So the transactions is benchmarked by something called money, currency. Okay, a common exchange factor that these people can all use to measure their own works. Okay, so I make crops, I put this much effort. How much of 1 kg of crop is equivalent to how much kg of cotton or how much kg of grains? Okay, so in order to benchmark this, we needed some medium. That medium earlier used to be silver, gold, and then later days it evolved into something called money. Okay, money and transaction. So if you assume money as a medium of exchange, this transaction is called economy. Okay, actual value is these things. Actual value is not money, right? Why are people transacting here? Are they transacting for the gold? Are they transacting for the silver? No, they are ultimately transacting for their basic necessities, right? Food, clothing, shelter, are the basic necessities again, right? So that is why they are all transacting. The value is something that they will add, that they need necessarily in their lives. Okay, so group of people living together, they form a tribe. they create something in excess and they exchange that excess to someone else and they experience an upgrade in their life, right? See, they have something excess is crops. Why do they have excess? Excess means their necessities are fulfilled, right? So that is why it is available in excess. And this excess is exchanged with this excess, means these people also have their necessities fulfilled. These people also have their necessities fulfilled. Now, three groups have something in excess. And this excess is what get transacted, not the necessities, okay, right? If earlier days, I'm talking about earlier days, then people discovered, okay, I have something in excess, I could trade this for my necessity also, right? So I make cotton and I get crops. Crops is what? Or I make pottery and I get crops from someone else. Pottery is not obviously a necessity, right? As compared to crops, right? Like vessels or utensils or a second order necessary products, right? So I exchange those utensils for food. So this starts happening, okay? So these transactions are still based on what people need in their real life, which is food, utensils, clothing, okay? And in order to attain this, the benchmark is what is money, because you can't consume money directly. How can you experience money? By buying something or by traveling somewhere or by doing something with that money, right? So that whatever you are attaining is where the value is, and not money by itself doesn't have any value, right? If you are using that money to do something, to buy something, then it transacts into value, okay? That is the basics of the economic cycle. These transactions happen and these transactions get into circulate things among different groups. Consider like there are hundreds of groups like this, okay, and they all transact among themselves, okay. These are all tribal communities, okay. So if someone, let's say they have some problem with this community, okay, and they want to move to this community, okay, they want to come and join here, okay, what is expected? Will they just blindly join anyone? Why? Because there are 4 people here or 5 people here. If I am going to add someone extra, then I have one more stomach to feed, right? I have to feed one more person. That's a dependency, right? Then what is expected of this person who is coming in? He should contribute something so that it makes worth for me to give him something, right? Does it make sense? So anyone moving here from here or here from here or here from here, they have to, these people will obviously evaluate them for their skills. Okay, what this person can do for me, so that we can produce something more, right? So that I could share my food with them, right? Does it make sense? So someone moving from here to here, they'll be evaluated based on their skills and what work they can do, and then only they will be accommodated, right? Then only they can be accommodated, right? Then only it makes sense for them to accommodate this person, right? Does it make sense? Or else they will be a dead load to them, right? We are having 4 people already to feed. If I am bringing in the 5th person and that 5th person is not contributing anything, then that 5th person is a dead load, right? Does it make sense? So imagine we are in the prehistoric era where there are tribes and someone is moving from here to here. They are producing in excess and they are transacting among themselves, and they move from one place to another. If they have to move from one place to another, they will have to be evaluated by their skills and compensated by their work, right? Does it make sense? Now, can you see this is analogous to modern offices, right? This is an office, this is an office, this is an office. This is a business, this is a business, this is a business, right? Someone can move from here to here. How are you evaluated? You are evaluated based on your skill. Are you able to contribute something here in excess so that I can use you, so that I can feed you with money? I am feeding you with money, right? That is the salary we are getting, right? So I am being paid here. So I am evaluated with something called an interview, right? Of your skill. What can you contribute to me? That is the evaluation that is happening here, right? What can you contribute to me? Okay, now the business who is going to hire this person feels that I can extract value out of this person more than what I am going to give to them. Does it make sense? I should be able to extract value from this person, right? Let's say this group, right? They are producing already 50 kg of cotton, okay? and each of them consume 1 kg of food. Okay, each of them are consuming 1 kg of food, and they produce 50 kg of cotton, let's say, okay, in a month or something. Okay, so 50 kg of food, 1 kg, let's equate food and cotton here. Okay, so 5 kg of food is consumed by all 5 of them, and 50 kg of cotton is produced. 45 kg of value is in excess, right? Now if I am adding another, for this 45 kg I can exchange something else, right? So I can give 25 kg here and get crops. I can give 10 kg here and get meat. I can give another 5 kg, 10 kg to someone and get jewelry, right? So the number of things I can accumulate increases because I have so much in excess, right? So this excess is what is more important. Okay, excess, the excess is what enables all these transactions. You are able to understand that, right? See, excess is what enables all these transactions. Okay, so I have 45 kg of value, be it cotton, be it food, anything. Okay, I have 45 kg of value in excess. Okay, now I add 2 more people. Okay, let's say I want to add 1 more or 2 more people. What is happening here? The 2 more people are going to consume 2 kg of food, right? That is 7 kg of food, right? 7 kg of food is going to be consumed. Okay, if 5 people are giving 50 kg, what is my expectation now? If I add 2 people, 70 kg. I am expecting the output to be 70 kg, right? So that the consumption is 7 kg and I have 63 kg in extra, right? Okay, what is the minimum I can accept? Okay, 70 kg is okay. If 2 people are coming in and they are not able to bring in 10 kg, but they should at least bring in me 5 kg each, right? So that 50 kg will become 60 kg for me, and I can still offer 70 kg, that is okay. Okay, this brings in a value of adding 2 people. Now, but now what happens? Everyone is producing 10 kg earlier, right? Now what happens is 60 kg means they are producing 12 kg. 8. 60 by 7 is 8, right? So 8 point something kg. So earlier people, before adding these 2 people, I was getting value of 10 kg per person, right? Now I am only getting 8 point something kg per person, right? 8.5 something. Okay, so now my value decreases, but at least I am not running on a loss, right? Because 50 kg has become 60 kg, but I am still spending the same, right? Do you understand here? The same is what a business will think, right? Consider this. This is the overall revenue of a business. Okay, this is this 45 kg after expense is what is called profit or margin for a company. This 5 kg food, 7 kg food is the expenses of a company. Okay, so this is the overall revenue, this is the expense, this is the overall profit, and this is revenue per employee. Okay, so a company, if it has to hire someone, okay, they are going to give them 2 kgs. Their current revenue per employee is at 10 kg. Okay, the expense is 2 kg, right? The revenue per employee is 10 kg. If a new employee is being added, I expect at least 6 kg from that employee, right? Yes, I am only giving them 2 kg, but at least they have to give me 3 times, right? Because all other employees are giving me 5 times. Are you able to get it? Right? Only then it becomes a viable value for a hire to include someone in this tribe. Other than this, if the person is only going to give me 2 kg or 3 kg, if that person is going to give me 1 kg, I am running at a loss. If I am going to get 2 kg, I am not at loss, but my time and energy is waste with that person. I might as well not have him at all, because I am already having a good number running on, right? So in order to hire someone, before I could hire someone, these are all the constraints that a business will think. right? So the basics of business is this, okay? This is applicable to any business, okay? A business is very much comparable to a tribe, okay? We produce something and the production, different groups are there, and with different groups we transact. Every business transacts with some other business, be it B2B or B2C, a group of people. If you are directly selling to consumers, then your this crowd becomes the whole population, right? So you are a group of people producing something of value, producing something value which can be sold to another group of people. This could be some other business or to consumers, for which they will exchange their value. Whatever they have as a value, they will be happy to exchange that. Okay? This is the basic transaction of a business. Okay? Right? Clear? This is very much analogous to, and if you are going to, in this model, if you are going to switch from one place to another, or if you have to be relevant here, okay, even, okay, forget moving from here to here. If you are here, then if it is already 10 kg per person, what is the maximum you are allowed to come down? Maybe in time you are bored of doing the same thing, or you age and you cannot contribute to this 10 kg per person output, then again you become a dead weight to this tribe, right? So what happens if you have been together in this group for a long time? They will have some gratitude, they will have some relationship, and they will take care of you, right? That is what in modern days we see as pensions and other things. Yes, over the years someone might not be able to contribute as much they used to contribute in earlier days, so we'll give them with pension, or we'll give them a retirement bonus, a heavy pay that they could take care of themselves without any work for 10 years or something like that, right? So they offer retirement bonus, they offer pension. These are the things that they will take care, okay? But if you are not of that age, you will have to stay relevant here. You will have to keep producing 10 kg per person because everyone else is doing. And if you are not doing, you become a dead weight to this business, right? Does it make sense? So in order to stay relevant, you have to keep upskilling yourself, upgrading yourself to, maybe this is 10 kg per person is optimal. The maximum the business will tolerate from you is probably 6 or 7 kgs, right? Because beyond that, you become a severe liability to the business. Even though business is only paying you 2 kg, even though you are paying 2 kg, you have to make this much for a business to be valuable. Okay? These numbers, right? Revenue per employee or 5x, 10x or 2x, all these numbers varies with company to company. Okay? So if you are going to work in one company, in any company, depending on their stage, these numbers change. Or if you are a business executive whom you are planning to hire someone, then you have to again revisit this board. What kind of job I am going to take? What is my current revenue per employee? With this revenue per employee, if I am going to add someone new, what is my expectation from this person? Okay, right? So this is the basics of how businesses and the economies that derive from them operate. Okay, so a business is nothing but an entity, a unit, okay, a unit which, this is a business. It gives value, okay, and to make value, the business will have to incorporate people. Business is a group of people again, right? Group of people. So these group of people, what they have to bring in is some sort of skill, right? So we'll have a business needs a group of people with some sort of skill with whom they could take some raw material. Okay, they could take some raw material and use the skill, apply that skill on that raw material, and then produce something of value. Does it make sense? So this is the basis of business. So for this, the business gets some other value back, okay, which it will again invest on the skills and the raw material, compensates with the skills and replenishes the raw material. This cycle goes on and on and on. Every business wants to increase their profit margin. Okay, that is the purpose of any business that exists, because here we saw, right, how much excess you go, that much richer you are, right? If you produce something in excess, say for example you are consuming 10 kg, you are producing 15 kg, you can only get excess value of 5 kg. But if you are producing 50 kg, you can get excess value of 40 kg. Right? With 10 kg, you could probably get only meat if you are making grains. Okay? But with 40 kg, you can get 10 kg of meat, you can get 10 kg of cotton, you can get 10 kg of pottery, and you can have 10 kg in excess savings. Okay? So, the purpose of a business or an optimal business, every business or every group of people who are working together should optimize for profit margin. Okay? So, this profit, only then they can survive and grow beyond a certain point in time. Okay? So, they will start growing only if they optimize the profit margin. Okay? So, for which the basic foundational operation is this. Okay? So, how to increase the profit margin is, we don't have the control of investing on the raw material, right? Because the raw material is purchased from somewhere else, right? The business doesn't have, and the raw materials, the cost of raw materials, or the supply of raw materials. If this tribe is getting something from this tribe, if this tribe get destroyed with some flood or something, then they will not get the raw material at all in the first place, right? So the raw materials is not in the control of the business, right? So raw material is outside the control of the business. So optimizing profit margin by reducing the expenses in raw material is not in the control of a business. Okay? So what is in the control of a business is by optimizing the leverage of skills of the people it has, right? Here in the above example, every one of were producing 10 kg of value. 10 kg value, 2 kg I give to employees, and 8 kg is my margin, right? For every employee. This is the calculation, right? How do I, and if I am spending on raw material 1 kg for every 10 kg I produce, I cannot change this. This is not in my control, because that is provided by some other group of individuals, right? So how can I, so now my profit margin is 8 kg. Okay, how can I make it 9 kg? I can either make you produce 11 kg, or I can reduce this whatever I am giving to you to 1 kg, right? Right? This is why a lot of companies push employees for productivity in the first place, to increase the yield from 10 kg to 11 kg. How to increase? Can we, how do we automate the process? How do we make employees more productive? By introducing Gantt charts, project management, agile. All these tools are being developed only for the purpose of increasing this 10 kg. If by naturally you are all doing 10 kg per employee, how do I make it to 12 kg or 15 kg? Right? Because if I am going to leave you as such, right, do we have any motivations to do more than 10 kg? Right? For 20 years, 30 years, if our need is only 2 kg, we are always satisfied, right? If our need is 2 kg, it is already given, and we are producing 10 kg. There is no need for us to be motivated to get to the next stage at all, right? So now what the business does is, or what this whole economic system does is, it gives you a perception where 2 kg is not enough for you. What about next year? What about the third year? What about the fourth year? You have to get more than 2 kg. So you start running. How do you get more than 2 kg? You justify to the management or to the business that you are able to produce more than 10 kg. So then you start running yourself. Okay. When we don't have motivations, what we do, we directly, the businesses establish a lot of processes to encourage you, to motivate you, to incentivize you, right? By saying, let's say, this is why the incentives and all exist in modern terms. Let's say if this business, right, 10 kg they are this tribe, they are producing 10 kg and giving everyone 2 kg. Okay. Now suddenly the management comes and say, if you do more than 1 kg, I'll give you 100 grams more. Okay. Now everyone will start doing, okay, I'll do more than 1 kg, more than 1 kg. So this is how we encourage, right? So if I get 900 grams in extra. Business get 900 grams, the employee gets or the team member gets 100 grams in extra. Okay, right? So in order to optimize the profit margin, which is the only way for a business to grow, right? To increase the profit margin, there are two ways. One, you can't have any control of the raw material. The only way to increase your profit margin is through optimizing the skill. The only way, I'm meaning in only way is the only thing that is in your own control. Okay, you can reduce the raw material, but it always depends on someone else, right? How it reaches you or how much it is produced, everything is depending on someone else. Then the only way that is in your control to leverage the profit margin is by leveraging the skills or how much you can extract from your individual people that you are already feeding. Okay, so I incentivize all these things. So there are two ways to do it. One is I increase the productivity of existing employees. Two is I let go of some employees and replace it by something else. Okay, right? I have 7 employees. Okay, 4 employees are producing me 15 kg. Okay, 3 employees are producing me only 5 kg. What should I do? Obviously, to increase the profit margin, I should let go of these 5 people and retain these people and add more processes to these 4 people, right? And try to make them 20 kg, right? So now what happens is 15 into 4, 60, 60 plus 3 people, 15 was 75, right? If I let go of these 3 people, okay, 75, 7 employees, okay, I am producing 4 people and 3 people, 4 people with 10 kg and 3 people with 5 kg, right? So 40 plus 15 is I am making 40 plus 15, yeah, I am making 55 kg, right? With 7 employees, I am making 55 kg, okay? Now I see this profit in order to increase the profit margin, okay? But I am giving 14 kg as output to all the employees, right? So I make 55 kg and I give 14 kg. So I only have excess of 40 kg, okay? Now what I do is I have 2 strategies. One, I could let go of employees who are not very productive to me. So these 5 kg per employees, I let them go, okay? So now this becomes, there is no strength here. This becomes 0. Then the other strategies, I can increase the productivity of existing employees. So instead of giving them 10 kg, I make them do 15 kg by increase the process, increasing, by incentivizing them more or other things, okay? So, or I automate this with something else, okay, with the machine or something in the later days, okay? So now what happens, these 4 people each with 15 kg are already producing me 60 kg, right? So I can step up them, instead of giving them 2 kg, I could give 3 kg to them, right? Because they are giving me more, right? These employees are also happy because they are getting 3 kg. I am also happy because I am getting more, right? These employees were only getting 2 kg. Now I am giving them 3 kg, okay? I was getting 55, with just 4 employees I am getting 60, okay? My expense now becomes 4 employees, 3, 12, right? And 60 minus 12 is I have 48. I let go of 3 employees, right? But actually everything got increased. Are you understanding this, right? My team strength was earlier 7, right? I had to feed 7 people and I had to spend 14 rupees. Now I had to only feed 4 people, but I am only spending 12. The individual employees, they are also happy because they were getting 2 kg only. Now they are getting 3 kg for producing more, right? My overall yield is more, my margin is more. A business should always do this. A surviving business, any business that wants to survive should always do this. Does it make sense? So this is the motivation of any business to stay in business at all, okay? Do you think this is good? This is good for these 4 working employees, right? Because they have an improvement. This is good for the management who are doing a lot of work, right? So who is the only people who got affected here is unproductive people. So this is fair, right? Only the unproductive people got affected by this. The productive people got more value. The business got more value. The value got more. So as the value becomes more, the margin becomes more. I will add maybe 4 worthy employees again, right? So by letting some unproductive employees go, I am hiring more people. Okay, right? So this is how businesses have operated ever since those tribal days. Whatever I am saying, right? This is all true. These are the only truths until 1990 or 2000. After that, things changed, which we'll see in the later sessions. Okay, but this is how businesses operated. These are all the principles on which businesses operated from tribals to this. Okay, so every business exists to optimize the profit margin, and the profit margin is a direct measure of revenue per employee. And the revenue per employee, if you optimize and reduce the spend per employee, if revenue per employee increases, businesses will be happy to increase the spend per employee also, right? So we have to, as individuals, so what is the value of business here? To stay in business, an organization, group of people, if they have to stay in business, what they have to do is they have to churn these and keep churning these unproductive people and incentivize these properly productive people. That is how a business can survive, keep on surviving, right? For employees, if we are an employee, if we are a management, we have to keep on doing this periodically. At least once a year, this has to be done. What is my, who are my unproductive, who with revenue per employee, not every revenue per employee is going to be equal. So I have to see what is my revenue per employee and who are all contributing most of it. I have to incentivize them more. I have to enable them with more tools, with more power, so that they can increase their productivity from 10 to 15, right? And I can, so that I can increase their compensation from 2 to 3, right? And identify people who are not so contributing to the revenue per employee, so that I can maybe upskill them or reskill them or let them go for the good of any other business, right? So this is what a business should do, executives should do. What an employee should do is we have to stay relevant, right? With respect to our skills, we have to upgrade ourselves with respect to our skills. Okay, so with respect to, we have to see this AI, LLM, and all code generation from this point of view. This is the basics of any business. Okay, okay. In the next session, we'll see how this particular scenario translates into a specific domain of industries called knowledge-based economy. So what all we saw here is a physical labor-based economy, which is also true for a knowledge-based business from a business point of view. So what from a skill? So now you can understand, right? The very important aspect here is the skill, right? Because the skill is what is translates into value. Raw material is immaterial because it's not in our control. So the only thing in our control is the skill. So how a business executive and an employee has to view the skill in order to create more value, right? And how this translates into, and what sort of skills are relevant in with respect to knowledge based economy. That's what we are going to see in the next session, and from there we will take into the upcoming sessions of how AI applies into all these things. Okay, right? Okay, any questions? Any questions? Okay, all right, we'll see in the next session.